solving problems, their willingness to go the extra mile, and their belief in doing what's right. So it's no wonder why millions of customers turn to us each week for help in getting back on the road. Because working at AutoZone means taking pride in taking care of people.
If I said you could get your hair back free, get up to 65% off major hotels, plus save as much as $180 on American Airlines, you'd probably think I was kidding. Well, guess what? I'm not kidding. We're not about drugs or surgery. We're about adding real hair in with your own. So call 1-800-HAIR-CLUB now for your free brochure. Free hair, and for limited time, up to 65% off major hotels and up to $180 off American Airlines. Just prepay for a club plan, and the hair is free.
I'm on ESPN.com. What I like about it is you can read about, like, pretty much every sport. You know what I really wasn't interested in until I got online was horse racing. And they had some stuff about, you know, the Breeders' Cup and the Kentucky Derby. I never thought about this, but, you know, if I lost some weight, you know, got in better shape, I might be able to be a jockey. You know, there's my professional dream right there. I mean, you know, how hard can it be? You hop on a horse and hit it with a stick, you know?
Back at Daytona Beach, Florida, there is the new pace car, the new Pontiac Grand Prix pace car on the racetrack, leading the field by. Now, a moment ago, a very bizarre occurrence here at Daytona. The pace car was actually sitting in turn 3 waiting for the field. They had told the leader the pace car would pick up the leader in turn 3. Joe Cooksey, driving the car number 51, a 4-year ARCA veteran, was about 3 or maybe 4 laps down, and there was contact. He apparently maybe was coming off the racetrack. Speculation was he may have been coming off the racetrack to come down pit road and turned down and never saw the pace car sitting there.
Can't imagine.
And if you look at Cooksey's car going here and the pace car sitting right behind it, it's a square dead-on hit right in the back. It doesn't appear to be hitting the quarter panel or anywhere else. It's just it's straight. You know, I think Buster and the regular ARCA driver who drive the pace car extremely lucky to get out and walk away like that.
I mean, that's a race car built with all the supports and struts up front. That car is heavily damaged. There had to be quite an impact there at speed.
Had to be a ton of impact, believe me, especially if the pace car was sitting there. I think that says a lot for the Pontiac and for the Grand Prix that they used as a pace car, that it took a blow like that from a vehicle that was designed to take a blow, and it still held up good, and those two guys got out of it.
Tell you what, that makes me want to go out and buy one. You can take an impact like that from a race car, probably 70 or 80 miles an hour, and climb out and look at it and say, okay, let's take it and get it fixed. I'm sold.
Makes you proud to be a Pontiac driver today.
I mean, there's no replay to see to tell exactly what my...
Gorgeous day as the action continues to heat up, but the weather people say that temperatures will cool down for this weekend's big race. RPM Tonight welcomes you to Speed Weeks 99 at the Daytona International Speedway. Hello, everyone. I'm John Kernan. Coming up, an exclusive interview with Jeff Gordon. Plus, the Petties, Kyle and Adam, will be here along with Jerry Nadeau and Matt Kenseth. But first, round 1 of the International Race of Champions, 7 laps in. Jeff Gordon in orange looks inside of Rusty Wallace. Looks like a little contact, maybe. Wallace will be pushed up into Dale Earnhardt Jr. Gets hit from behind by Eddie Cheever, and they were all done for the day after that big old mess. With 8 of the 12 cars remaining in the event, they go back to racing, and Mark Martin held the lead, but on the last lap, off of turn 4, Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, makes the move inside. Bobby Labonte goes with him. Earnhardt gets around despite Mark's effort to keep him back Earnhardt motors his way to the finish line to take his second win here at Daytona in the last 2 days. Labonte beat Martin to the line for second place by about 1,000th of a second. Now, the victory lane with Marlowe Clain to hear from the winner.
Mr. Daytona beat Mr. IROC today. Dale, tell me about that last move you made on Mark.
Well, we tried it off of 2 and it didn't work, and we drafted down the back straightaway and come off 4, and I got down under him tight, and when he tried to pinch down off of 4, we got together with the bumpers a little bit, gave me a little room, and I got on under.
I overheard you say that even the beginning of this race made you a little nervous. It was a little wild.
It was too wild for me at the first, and once everybody got settled down, it was good racing, and we just sort of sat there and was patient with Mark. He got a lot of points for leading, and maybe I got a lot of points for winning.
What were you and DJ looking for under the cars during that break?
I slid the tires a little bit in that wreck, and I just wanted to make sure we didn't have flat spot tires, and that's what Dale and I were looking for.
Congratulations, Dale. Round 1 went to Dale Earnhardt here at the IROC Series.
Dale Jr., of course, looked impressive. He led for a little while before the crash, but he was more impressed with his father's performance.
Passed him on the last lap. I guess the old man still got it, boy. I tell you what, I don't care what anybody says. He's a driving fool.
I got to give it to Dale Earnhardt, though. He was real foxy. He took it easy to be in with, so we other guys could go out and crash and stuff like that, and then he just sneaked up on there and won.
I had it on the mat. I did everything I could do. The guys just had, Dale had a really fast car there, and he just got up on me.
I passed Dale Earnhardt Jr., and no problem. And then I come off a 2, and Gordon got 4, and Gordon got into me, got me sideways in the tri-oval. And then at about the same time, Eddie Cheever got into, or the dark green car, I think it was Eddie Cheever, got into Dale Earnhardt Jr. And when he hit Jr., Jr. flew across the track and got into me, and that was basically all that happened.
Just a big old mess. Well, Jeff Gordon, of course, leads the field to the starting line Sunday afternoon in the Daytona 500. A fitting place to start for the driver who dominated the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit last year. Earlier this week, I talked to the 3-time series champ about his accomplishments and his future. 3-time Winston Cup champion, the defending champion, 42 career wins. Does it seem strange that it's you that we're describing when we say that?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, it's so strange for me to hear that, because I know that just 6 years ago there wasn't any of that. You know, I was just coming into Winston Cup, and I remember saying to myself, boy, you know, do I have what it takes to be a Winston Cup driver? Do we have what it takes to make a winning team or a championship caliber team? And there was just so many unknowns at that point, and then all of a sudden, bang, things started happening.
One of those rare Sundays that you don't win, and you may not have finished in the top 5 or top 10. What do you like that Sunday night? I mean, are you just consumed with it?
Well, you know, every situation is different. But if we're a winning car or a 5th place car and we finish, you know, 10th or 15th, then yeah, it consumes me. You know, it really, it's hard for me to get my mind off, because I'm thinking, okay, what could I have done to make the car go faster? What could I have done to give Ray more information? And I know he does the same thing. The pit crew does the same thing. When we make mistakes, we learn from those, and usually we don't make the same mistake twice.
I wonder if you've thought about it, you know, what all goes in to make you and your team so good. Do you have any idea?
To me, what makes the difference between a good team and a great team are the people that you put in place. And Ray went through some people at the beginning. You know, there were just people that didn't mix with the type of atmosphere that our team created, or the type of work ethics that Ray liked to see. And, you know, he's had to work on me at times too. You know, there's times that I wasn't up to par with the way the whole group is working. And right now we have people that work together.
So I guess in that respect, you couldn't just take anybody and plug them into your seat as the driver and expect to have the same level of success right away, could you?
You put another driver in there, and they're gonna be successful. They're gonna win races. You know, as a driver, I hope that I bring a little bit extra to it, and I think because of the relationship that Ray and I have, we know what each other's thinking a lot of times, and that takes time. That takes you know, getting used to. So I think that I could bring a little bit more to it and maybe win a few more races and be a bigger threat for the championship. But I know the team's great. I know, you know, what a pleasure it is to get behind the wheel of that car, and that other drivers could get in there and accomplish great things.
We always talk about how NASCAR One Cup racing is a family sport, that everybody's like one big traveling family. So do you feel bad sometimes whenever you're, beating these guys, beating your family, and, sometimes embarrassing them with your performances?
Well, I think that you've got to learn not to let that affect you. I probably don't have a lot of friends when I'm on the racetrack, or as many, but hey, that goes with the territory. At times, it's just like the fans, like, okay, great, we won a race or two, but then you start winning too much, and then it starts to get on their nerves, and it's not that I feel bad, it's just that it is kind of awkward at times, but I hope that I keep feeling that awkward feeling, because I'm not expecting to win 13, 10 races or anything like that this year. It's going to be really tough to do that.
A lot of those guys that you're talking about, though, say the only way to beat you and your team is if you guys make a mistake or stumble somewhere along the way. Is that true?
Well, it was just like the Busch shootout. I really felt like we had the car to beat. I drove the car too hard to pit road. I couldn't get it slowed down, and boom, we're out. So there's a perfect example of that right there. I mean, I think that we've got a better team than we had last year, better race cars than we had last year, but so does everybody else. So, yeah, in a way, I do feel that way. I feel like it does lie in our hands to not make mistakes.
Gordon is no stranger to victory lane here at the Daytona International Speedway. 2 years ago, he led a Hendrick Motorsports sweep in the Daytona 500. He also won the Pepsi 495, and again last year. His only victory in the 125s came in his rookie season, and he's also won the Busch Shootout twice. Still to come on RPM tonight, problems for some of the Busch Series drivers as they prepare for Saturday's race. And when we come back, father and son duo Kyle and Adam Petty will be here.
Driving with Quaker State again, Jeff Gordon won 13 races this year. Wins again. Tied racing legend Richard Petty for most wins in a season.
I cannot believe this.
And won the Winston Cup for the third time. It's incredible. All while Quaker State driver Steve Kinzer was winning the '98 World of Outlaws Championship. So once again, we're left to wonder, is it in their blood or in their engines? Quaker State, chosen by winners.
Refreshing as a mountain stream. Head for the mountains of Busch beer. It's the most powerful custom on the planet. 6 cylinders. 6 carbs. 1,520 cc's. Only one motorcycle in the world can cruise like this. The Valkyrie from Honda. During custom finance days, get 5.9 APR on new Valkyries.
Great parts for these vehicles and yours. That's the Mopar difference.
RPM Tonight from the Daytona International Speedway is brought to you by Quaker State for protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions.
Happy hour turned out to be anything but that for nearly a quarter of the field in Saturday afternoon's NASCAR Busch Series race. 10 drivers were involved in 3 separate on-track incidents, including defending series champ Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was called into the NASCAR rig for a conference.
They just wanted to know that that I understood the situation, and I, him was, not upset with anybody, and everybody's pretty much calm about it. So they've done a great job in the past with me, but when I get out of hand and keep me calmed down because, you know, trying to stay professional.
Got through pretty much all of them, slowing down a little bit, making sure, but I guess the pack behind me didn't realize what was going on, and I got tagged from the back a little bit, you know, but I guess that's the way it goes around here.
I was in the outside groove right up against the wall going into one, and that's where a piece of scrap would lay, and evidently I run it over with the right rear. It went flat going in the corner, and I just lost it.
I mean, it's our Rockingham car, so it's nothing built for air. This is a Chevrolet we've been running. This is a Ford. We're definitely behind 8 ball right now.
Kyle Petty starts 24th Sunday in the Daytona 500. His son Adam rolls off 21st in Saturday's Busch Series race. Kyle, we'll start with you since you always give me a hard time about coming on the show. Saw a lot of crazy things in Thursday's qualifying races. Do you think we're going to see that in the 500?
I hope not, but I'm sure you will. Because the cars are so equal right now, if you look at, there's 2 or 3 cars that can lead. You know, the 24 car can lead, the 6 car can lead. Some of those guys are really good. Rusty's really good, and so is Jeremy Mayfield. Everybody else has to follow. And what you try to do is jockey for position to see who you're going to get in line to follow. So a lot of times, man, you go 3 and 4 wide, and I was being pretty conservative the first part of the race because John had already been in an accident in the 43 car. But the last 8 or 10 laps, I went 4 wide a couple of times down the backstretch, and I'm pretty conservative sometimes. I don't like doing that.
Adam, what about your race? This afternoon, we saw a lot of crazy things happening. Does that kind of worry you about Saturday?
No, not really. You know, me and Dad been over there, helped me get the car a little bit more comfortable. I got to use some of his shock setups and stuff like that. So the resources are there, but we're just going to have to ride like Matt said. We're just going to stay in line more than you want to during Saturday's race.
Kyle, what kind of advice have you given Adam?
In the last practice, the only advice I said was park it. I'd already seen that action today. But, you know, not a lot. Adam's got tons of talent. You know, I'm more impressed with him every time I see him on the racetrack. From the first time he went out here this week to run in the draft to where he's at the last practice is light years apart. I couldn't be any more proud of him. But, you know, I think the advice I give him is just like he said, go out there, get your laps in. You know, we came to Daytona this year to start the season, to start his rookie season. And just to get some laps in and be competitive.
Adam, when you look at what Dale Earnhardt Jr. did last year in his first full season in the Busch Series, you're from a famous racing family too, obviously. Do you feel the pressure to perform like he did?
Well, he certainly didn't make it too easy on us, I can say that. No, you know, I'm just going to go out there and do the best I can this year. I got to make it through these first 5 races without tearing stuff up and get a baseline for my points. So going into that 6th race, we're not the last car in the garage area, and we're not the last one to go through tech line. And so I'm just going to take it easy these first 5 races, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Kyle, you think he's going to take it easy?
No, he's 18. he's not going to take it easy. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of being 18. You don't have to take it easy. You feel like you're going to heal and everything's going to be fine. And, you know, oh, yeah, Daddy, I need another race car. Let's go. We got to go to another racetrack. So, you know, he does. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and I'm sure he's going to go out and be a little bit more conservative. But when they drop the green flag, then it's race time.
What about you and your team? I mean, it's basically a brand new team again this year. Do you feel comfortable with everybody you have in place?
Yeah, we really do. And I think a lot better than I ever have in the past. I think we're looking at things a little bit different, and I've said it before this week. We see ourselves as a single-car team with 2 cars. I drive one car, John Andretti drives the other car. When we build cars at the shop, we build petty enterprise cars. When we build motors, we build petty enterprise motors. Adam's team, we were able, because of this arrangement and the way we do it, to go out with the help of Spree, prepaid phone cards, and start Adam's Busch team, which now that's the old PE2 team. Everybody referred to my team as PE2. Now he's the PE2 driver. But I think the way, with the resources we've got with Doug Hewitt, with Chris Huzzy, with Keith Allman, guys like that that have worked on other teams and worked on winning race teams, and with Robbie Loomis running everything, I think we'll be good.
Well, guys, best of luck to you in each of your individual races and your efforts this year.
Thank you, man.
Thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah.
Coming up on RPM tonight, Matt Kenseth sets his sights on the Busch Series championship for this year.
Patricia's Hallmark, we carry a wide selection of seasonal cards and gifts with free gift wrapping. We're rated #1 in customer service because we treat you like family. Come let us help you with that special Valentine for your special person. While you're in, register to win a bouquet of roses and dinner for 2 at the Grove Park Inn. Drawing held Valentine's Day. We're open Valentine's Day, Sunday, February 14th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Patricia's Hallmark, Canton Plaza near McDonald's and Pizza Hut in Canton.
Whether you use these or prefer these, it's service your way at China Gardens Buffet.
self-service dishes arranged in a row, heavily laden with seafood, beef, pork, chicken, and duck. So whether you prefer to use these or like to use these, China Garden's menu items are proven crowd pleasers. The authentic China Garden Asheville in the plaza near Kmart at Biltmore Square.
Big Fights Boxing Hour gives you access to the largest boxing library in the world. Sit ringside for the best fights in history by calling 1-800-CLASSIC to get ESPN Classic. Here's what you can check out in this library. Rare footage of classic fighters, hard-hitting fights you can't see anywhere else, and volumes of the greatest action in boxing history. But to see Big Fights Boxing Hour, you've got to get ESPN Classic. Call 1-800-CLASSIC today.
Okay, day 8 here at Speed Weeks in Daytona Beach, Florida, and next to me is my buddy Wally Dallenbach. Now, Wally,
buddy,
but we are buddies.
Yeah, we are buddies.
Now, we got into an altercation yesterday, and we went down into one. I started coming down. You were at my left rear, and how did you see it?
Well, that's pretty much how I saw it. It was, I think it was kind of a spotter deal, looked like to me. I was down the bottom, and I think somebody said, Kenny, you're clear down there, and I drove down to the apron to try to get out of your way, but we kind of got together.
What were we thinking? We weren't even in the 4th gear, the first corner of the start of the race.
And we should have known better because we don't normally get into that kind of trouble. So, right. You know, I think it's something that was unfortunate. And I know in the drivers' meeting, Gary Nelson, you know, stressed upon, hey, don't let the spotters drive your cars. And I think sometimes that gets a lot of guys in trouble. We just got to keep each other a little bit more out there. You and I know what happened, and we just go racing. We put it behind us, and no big deal.
Right. So from in the garage area at Daytona, I can tell you there's a lot nicer atmosphere around here. It feels like all the anxiety and the tense is over. And day 8, almost the last practice session next couple days, and then the 500 on Sunday. So back to you guys at RPM.
Thanks, Kenny. Top 5 finishers from last fall's Talladega race who paired with a fan and all have a shot to claim a $1 million bonus with a victory on Sunday. Jeff Gordon won the No Bull 5 bonus twice last year. Jeremy Mayfield hopes to win it on Sunday. Dale Jarrett, of course, won the last No Bull bonus available, and as a result, he also is eligible for the $1 million bonus again, as are Jimmy Spencer and Terry Labonte. And a lot of people are picking Terry as one of the favorites to win Sunday's Daytona 500. One day, Matt Kenseth hopes to have a shot at winning a $1 million bonus in a Winston Cup race. Right now, though, he's concentrating on his Busch Series effort. Matt, you start 18th on Saturday. How's the car running?
Well, it's not too bad. I've drove more stable cars here, but it's pretty fast so far. So we just need to work on getting a little bit more stable and trying to get tire wear down a little bit.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about the tires going away after, what, like 20 laps here? I mean, usually that's not a problem.
Yeah, we didn't get to run much in practice yesterday because we had some mechanical problems, and we got everything together for today and ran about 20 laps in happy hour, and our tire wear looked terrible, and the car wasn't very stable after 20 laps. So we're just going to go with a little bit more non-aggressive setup and something that can drive all day.
Now, happy hour almost turned into sad hour, right? I mean, you had a little contact out there. Did it hurt the car much?
No, we're okay. I guess Tim got a flat tire there and kind of came up across the racetrack, and I just hit him with a left front fender just a little bit, and everything's okay on our car. We just got to straighten the left front fender a little bit, but there was a lot of cars that got wrecked there in happy hour, and I'm not sure what happened in other wrecks.
Now, last year in this race, you started 7th, finished 6th, a really good effort. How much did you learn?
Well, I learned you have to stay in line most of the race, and you know, we're starting a little bit farther back, and with these new rules, I feel like there's going to be really big packs of cars in big groups, and from the looks of happy hour, everybody was dancing around a lot out there, and cars didn't look very stable. So I think you're going to see an action-packed race tomorrow, and you know, hopefully everybody will make their cars drive a little bit more stable for tomorrow.
What about the season outlook for you guys? You know, last year second in the points. Do you look to step it up and win the championship?
Well, I hope so, but there's a lot of things that go into winning a championship. You have to have a lot of luck. You have to have no mechanical failures and all of that. So really my goal is to try to win more races and try to raise our competition level just a little bit more and turn some of our weak points last year into strong points this year and just try to pick the whole program up a little bit.
Now, last year at Rockingham, you won your first career Busch Series race. You go back there next week. Do you feel pretty comfortable about going there?
Well, I've ran really good there once, and I've ran really bad there twice. So hopefully, you know, every other time we've done it, so maybe this time we'll run decent again.
What about Winston Cup plans this year and beyond?
Well, there's really no plans for right now, and I'm not sure what's going to happen in year 2000. We certainly want to go Winston Cup racing, and we kind of have everything in the works, but you know, we're going to have to wait a little while and see what all happens there.
All right, Matt, best of luck to you. Thanks a lot. And don't forget the radio show next week.
Okay.
Okay. When we come back, Jerry Nadeau heads into his second full Winston Cup season on a good note. We'll talk to him in a moment.
Adrenaline rushing, hearts pounding, heavy breathing. It's almost as much fun as your first date. Royal Caribbean, like no vacation on earth.
Do some of America's most successful people get their start? Did somebody say McDonald's?
The 1999 SP Awards. It's gonna be great.
The 1999 ESPY Awards with host Samuel L. Jackson. Performances by Big Bad Voodoo Daddy and Fastball, plus Ben Affleck, Carmen-elect Garth Brooks, Mark McGuire, Tyra Banks, Sammy Sosa, Burt Reynolds, Rebecca Romaine Stamos, Jimmy Smits, Terrell Davis, the Yankees, and more. The greatest night in sports, the 1999 ESPY Awards, live Monday at 7:30 on ESPN. Presented by Pennzoil and General Motors.
NASCAR Goodies Dash Series action. Lap 11, Scott Weaver gets hit head-on by George Crenshaw. Weaver fractured his left tibia. Crenshaw suffered a fractured right femur. Take a look at it from Weaver's onboard. Lap 19, Scott Kraling, Jimmy Foster, Jimmy Gross get together. Foster flips over. Cars are going everywhere. And then Brent Moore going over on his roof as well. All the drivers turned out to be okay. 5 laps from the end, a very scary incident. Danny Bagwell has a big-time problem. He shot into the outside wall and barrel rolled, tearing the car to smithereens. Fortunately, Bagwell was able to climb from the car under his own power, just a little bit shaken up. At the finish, it was Christian Elder who picked up the victory. Robert Huffman held on to second place despite having a tire going down on the last lap. Joe Buford finished third, followed by Greg Goodell, Jimmy Britz, and Eddie Kelly. But how about Elder? He was excited to wind up in victory lane.
I don't know if there's words for this. Daytona. Victory circle in Daytona. I mean, that's just unbelievable for this Great Clips team. I'm so happy.
Jerry Nadeau joins us now. That was scary, wasn't it?
That was pretty scary.
Now, you're in the Winston Cup race, the Daytona 500 on Sunday afternoon. You've had one of the fastest cars in winter testing. It's looked pretty good throughout the 125s and also in practice. How's it running?
We're pretty good. Last couple days ago, we had some trouble with, we don't know if it was the motor or drag on the car, but we were a little bit down on speed, and we made some changes yesterday, and we finally got the car going really good. But it wasn't handling too good, so we made some changes, and I think yesterday's last practice, we're one of the quickest cars. It's just trying to get some people to help with me. That's the biggest thing running these big races. You know, everybody kind of gets in line and runs with who they want to run with, and if we can get some good partners Sunday, we should have a good run.
I figured now that you don't have that yellow stripe, rookie stripe on the bumper, it'd be easy to get guys to draft with you. It's not?
That doesn't mean nothing. I think a lot of it here is experience. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have been here for many years. This is only my second full season, so it may take 2-3 years before I can start running up front and you know, get some guys to get behind me. But I'm just excited about the whole team. These guys worked really hard all winter long. Cartoon Network and everybody on board is just everybody's been really good.
You moved over to that team in the middle of last season and had the second half of the season basically to get acquainted with everybody. How much of a help has that been as far as getting ready to start this year?
It's great. I mean, you know, we spent a lot of time together this winter. Basically, ever since Atlanta, I've been at the shop every day, just spending some time with the guys. And I think that some of the races that we've done last year, the guys got to know what I like in a race car, and I started learning more about the cars. And it feels good. I got a lot more weight off my shoulder, knowing that this is my second year around, knowing that I've been to most of the racetracks. But you know, heck, you know, there's still a lot more learning that I've got to do out there, and this is one racetrack that's hard to get around to get guys to helping you out and going fast.
What's it going to take for you to consider this year a success?
Well, I mean, we had some good runs last year. We just never had really good finishes, and I think this year is if I could be more consistent, stay out of trouble, and you know, not have situations like happened to me at Sears Point where I qualified outside pole and just blew it all in the first turn. So I want to put all that stuff behind and just put my head down this year and really try hard. I mean, this is a year where I really don't have much pressure on me as much as I did last year, my rookie year. So I feel pretty good about this season. I think we'll have some really good runs out of our stables.
Jerry, thanks a lot for taking time out to talk with us, and I'll talk to you a little bit later on the radio show.
That's right.
RPM tonight from the Daytona International Speedway. We'll be back in just a little bit.
I got a real whopper of a headache right now.
Tough pain needs fast relief. The fast relief of Motrin IB gel caps. Powerful, concentrated, half the size of Advil liquid gels.
My headache is history.
For fast relief, it's Motrin IB, spoken here.
Bumper to bumper traffic? Anyone? Change the oil. Endless construction? Scooter. Change the oil. High cholesterol? Change the oil. Every driving adventure is an opportunity to win one of 100,000 prizes found hidden under the caps. Specially marked Pennzoil motor oil. Trips to ESPN sporting events, the ESPYs, merchandise from Pennzoil and ESPN can be yours if we change the oil. He twists, he turns, he scores.
Early light breaks through. Music and dance calling you. Just need that mountain grown lift before you share your gift. Now there's rhythm and sound making their hearts pound. The best part of waking up is soldiers in your blood.
I got a real whopper of a headache right now.
Tough pain needs fast relief. The fast relief of Motrin IB gel caps. Powerful, concentrated, half the size of Advil liquid gels.
My headache is history.
For fast relief, it's Motrin IB, spoken here.
Friday night fights. This week, the main event. Antonio Diaz squares off with Mauro Lucero. Also, the return of Bronco McCart, plus a Sonny Liston retrospective. Friday night fights, tonight at 9 on ESPN2.
Outside the Lines, Days of Daytona tells the complete story of this year's Great American Race. It'll check out the sponsorship situation some teams face. Plus, the program will give you an in-depth look at Rusty Wallace's weekend. Next Wednesday night, 12 over on ESPN. Car owner Ginny Donlevy, who early in Speed Weeks had removed the sponsor decals from his car for non-payment, will have a sponsor on the car in Sunday's Daytona 500. Kodiak, which sponsors the 41 car of David Green, didn't make the field, so it'll go on the number 94, driven by Mike Wallace. Green was involved in an accident during the qualifying races on Thursday afternoon. Don't forget to check out ESPN's RPM Radio NASCAR Now on the ESPN Radio Network. We'll talk to Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart. Also, Jerry Nadeau. Reese Davis now takes control here at Daytona for the weekend shows. We'll see you back here Monday night at 7 from our studios in Charlotte. Good night, everybody.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, a part of the Go Network. Go.com.